Stacy Sims, and we are back with more of The Sims 4 Where Dreams Reside, which is our challenge that we are doing that is inspired by the book Every Heart a Doorway. We know this by now, but just in case you're new and this is the first time you're tuning in, check the book out. It's really freaking awesome. So today we are going to be learning about Maggie Flynn. Our lovely lady here who is really stankin'. Girl, you need to take a bath. But yeah, so she's just chatting with Ezra and Sloan right now. Good, she's gonna take a bath. So we'll follow her around. So, Maggie, what can we tell everyone about you? Well, first of all, Maggie kind of grew up in a broken home. So her parents got divorced when she was young. And she lived with her father for quite some time. He was a little bit of a better parent. He kind of wanted to have her. He's a little more responsible. But he was in the military, so that was all fine and dandy. They moved around a lot, so she kind of wasn't used to having any kind of set home. She was very much... I love how they're shocked by toilets. This toilet. Hi... What the frick? She was going to take a bath, Ezra. Mags, go find another shower. I'm sorry, honey. Ezra's a dick. But yeah, so they moved around from like base to base, so she never really had any place that she put down roots. So, but that was fine because she had her dad. But when he got deployed and had to go overseas, he couldn't take her with him. And she really had no other option but then to go live with her mother, which she wasn't too thrilled about, but, hi, it's her mom. She loved her mom, but I think she just felt a little more bonded with her dad. Girl, take a frickin' shower. Holy hell, pick a bathroom. Pick a bathroom. There's like multiples in this house. Like, oh my god, is everybody in one? But yeah, so she went to go live with her mother, and her mother was at this point like on her third or fourth husband. Like, her mother kind of went through husbands like most people change their underwear, and her mother was very... I kind of forgot we had this workout room down here. I'm not even kidding. Like, nobody ever comes down here. Not that I see anyway. None of the Sims that we follow come down here. I'm glad it's Saturday, so we don't have to worry about her going to school and the game getting janky because of that. But yeah, so her mother was very much one of those people that wanted the nice things in life, really wanted, better things. I mean, I think everybody kind of wants that, You want to better yourself. You want to have nicer things. You want to earn these things. But her mother kind of just wanted to get them. She really didn't put any effort into her relationships, which is why it didn't work out with Maggie's father. And she kind of just wanted someone who would throw money at her, almost like she was a trophy wife, but she really wasn't that much of a trophy. Like, she didn't put any effort or anything like that. And she was kind of mean to her poor husbands, But so Maggie just really kind of grew up hating this, because she saw the way her father was. And she really just... he was very loving and caring for her. He, the military was his job. It's not just that, it's his career and it's his life, but Maggie never suffered for that, He did everything he could possibly do. And she kind of grew up having that in her life where, seeing that he put in so much that it wasn't like, okay, I had a really rough day, or I've been at work and I've been doing stuff or training or doing whatever for all this time and I need to sleep. He's like, all right, let me take a nap. And then he always put her first, like even before himself. So, obviously she kind of knew, work comes first and everything, like, came first, unfortunately, but he put her first before himself. And that kind of meant something to her. But when she went and lived with her mother, it kind of, it ruined some things, I think, because she was young when this happened. So she had started being, I don't want to say trained, but she'd kind of started seeing better behavior for human beings, like how to treat each other and everything from her father, like responsibility and caring for another person and putting someone else above yourself. And then went to her mother, who was just completely self-centered and whatever. And her teenage years were rough because of that, because her mother didn't really pay as much attention to her as her father had. She kind of felt neglected. She was also, I think, very angry at her mother for just her behavior. And she started kind of acting out, just not too bad, nothing too bad, but she kind of fell in with the wrong kind of crowd. And she, if we remember, maybe we didn't introduce Maggie the last time, but she's a kleptomaniac. So this is part of her bad habits. She really has no responsibility or emotional control because these are things she learned from her mother, or I should say didn't learn. She's extremely freaking smart and she's extremely outgoing, but she's also likes to steal. And that kind of is an interesting combination because, you know, she will talk her way in and you think she's the sweet, oh, this kid, she's so smart and she's so sweet. And the next thing you know, all your shit's gone. Like, she's really good at being a con artist, you know? And she kind of, that was kind of how she started acting out and rebelling. And she used to get kind of caught shoplifting sometimes and, you know, but there was also times where they kind of thought she was running with this crowd that would like steal from other people and were breaking into houses and, you know, stuff. But they could never really prove that she was there because she's smart, good girl, smart. But yeah. So she at one point, you know, she also kind of would run away from home sometimes. She would try to run away, go back to the military base, where her father had been stationed, even while he was deployed, and try to like live with any of the other people that were there. Like that was just something that was more to her a family than say her mother in the house that she lived in with her stepfather and current step siblings who, you know, rotated too goddamn much. Like, you know, her mother was used to actually having husbands that didn't have kids, but there was one that, you know, she was fine. You know, he was fine, like because he had money. His wife had the kids, but then his wife passed away and they got stuck with the kids and she was miserable. But Maggie's mom kind of met her match because this guy was like, yeah, no, you're my wife. You're going to deal with my kids. And he wasn't like the doormats. He was a kind of a really big con artist himself, if you think about it, because, you know, Maggie's mom was used to going after kind of doormat kind of people, you know, guys who were more doormats, who would do whatever she said and kind of thought she was more of a trophy than she really was, which is why she didn't have to put much effort in. This guy, she had to try a little bit harder to win, but he was really good knowing that, okay, well, I know the kind of things that I can get away with her, and I know how I can treat her. And he kind of knew that, like, she'd been with, like, kind of schmucks before. Like, I hate to say that, these poor guys, but, you know, and this guy was a little more of a con artist, like, yeah, okay, fine, we can work with this. And he kind of, like, without her realizing, it was kind of like gaslighting, like, you know, where he's just forcing her. Is somebody glitching? She's taking way too long in the shower. Who is glitching my game out? Somebody is glitching the game. She's sleeping. Somebody's glitching the game. Oh, it's her. Stop talking to Sloan while you're doing your homework. Good fucking lord. I'm like wondering why Maggie is taking so long in the shower. I'm like, okay, well she should be done soon. And then like 5 minutes later, I'm like, she's still in the shower. Stop. Please don't talk to her while she's doing her homework. That's like the biggest pet peeve of mine is like that this happens all the time. But anyway. So yeah. So then her mother got landed with all these stepkids and she was kind of miserable and really bitchy. And like, that's really when Maggie started acting out even more just because, you know, she thought this guy was just another one of those doormats that her mom kind of dated and married. And he turned out to be kind of an asshole. And Maggie this wasn't her thing, but oh my God. And now all of her needs are crashing because, oh God, would you use the fucking toilet? Okay, God, I was like, why is she taking forever? All of her needs are tanking because she was in the shower for 4 days. But yeah, so she used to kind of run away and try to run back to the base and try to live there. And one day she just, you know, usually the like people on the base would call her mother and, you know, whatever, send her back, and her mother would get really pissed and like, you know, but and then Maggie would get in trouble and she just, you know, it was like a cycle. But are you going to go talk to Jack? Oh, Jack's going to show you a funny video. He's sleeping, though, so you can't do that. You can't go watch a funny video when he's sleeping. Girl, you need to go do something social. Who's awake? Come up here and talk to Beatrice. Oh my God, my game is stuck. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so they would always kind of call her and, like, have her come back. And, wow, hi, why are you in the bathroom while she's in here? Hi, you can't share the bathroom. Okay, so you're gonna eat. So why don't you come and... Okay, why don't we just... Oh, good lord. I can't handle all these Sims in this house. They're all, like, kind of dumb. Like, why don't you come eat this grilled cheese sandwich? There's, like, half of a grilled cheese sandwich. Come eat this, and then we'll see who's around here to talk to. Or you can come talk to Dinah. Complain about your problems. Enthuse about the thrill of the steal. Dinah's gonna love that. Tell her a dramatic story. She hasn't stolen anything in a while. Because she's not allowed to. So that's why she's going to enthuse about the thrill of the steal. Like, oh my god, Dinah! But anyway, so at one point she kind of disappeared and her mother thought, God, she ran away. Like, whatever, I'll get a call in a couple days from the frickin' base and whatever. But she never got a call. And so it was probably like 4 or 5 days before she even called the police. And they were like, seriously, you don't report your daughter missing for like 4 or 5 days? And it was 4 months before Maggie kind of reappeared in the world. And she had slipped through her magical doorway into a lovely land called Trisswood. Now, Trisswood is an avian world. So Maggie spent time in this avian world. And it's basically, I don't want to say like bird people, but they're people that kind of live similar. Their society's similar to kind of bird society. And the way they live in basically groupings, flocks, families, you know? And this was something that Maggie it resonated strongly with her because it felt like, you know, living on base with her father. You know, it felt like, okay, these are people that are family. They're a grouping of people that were not born related. Is somebody else doing homework and talking? Because now you're not talking to her and everybody's being janky and weird. Who's talking and doing homework at the same time? Nobody. So why are you being really weird? Is Dinah broken? Okay, there we go. I was like, they weren't really actually talking. They were just standing there staring at each other. It was really weird. But anyway. So yeah, so this world... Yeah, she's not... Okay, let's stop talking to Dinah and let's just finish eating the damn grilled cheese sandwich because this is driving me crazy that... Okay. Okay, Dinah, go to the bathroom. Please go to the bathroom. Just get out of here. You're killing me, Smalls. Okay, why don't you talk to her? I don't know what is, like, brighten her day.
Ooh, Grobel.
Confess the fear of vampires. Oh my god, Dinah, go pee, for fuck's sake. Go! What is wrong with everyone in this game? Dinah, go here. For God's sakes, I can't even handle how dumb these guys are. Okay, fine. And then can you clean this when you're done? Like, I don't know, she's falling apart. But anyway, I only have time to worry about Mags. But yeah, so this world, they were very much like family. And she kind of liked that, these flocks of people that were very like-minded and they were very, you know, kind of like you would see a flock of birds. Like, they're living in their grouping. Usually they're family. Like, if you think about geese, they're not all like siblings, all parents and kids, but they're like usually like a family, a flock, like a pack of wolves, you know? And it was just something that she absolutely loved. And the really kind of interesting thing about this world, and I kind of know that this is inspired by, I will tell you this part was inspired by a part in Every Heart a Doorway. I don't remember which world exactly it was in, but I just remember vaguely about this, so I kind of was like, okay, this is, you know, so like I said, I don't remember 100% which world it was in or exactly it. I just remember them talking about being able to like run across rainbows or something, and I really just remembered it. So that's something I kind of put into Maggie's world, that Maggie, like, they could skate across rainbows, so, and run across them, and that's like living in the sky. And they actually had, like, these people couldn't fly, obviously, like they don't have wings like legit bird people, but they had these kind of backpack like contraptions that were like gadgets, so that could help them fly, almost like jetpacks, sort of, but they were a little more in depth. So they actually, like, these backpacks had winged contraptions that would come out. So if you think about like a jetpack, like obviously how it's propelling you, this actually had wings, and you could actually fly like you had wings, but it was like a little backpack type thing, just small, like a jetpack with wings, basically. Like, you know, you can imagine it, I'm sure. Like, it's really hard to explain. but it actually would give them physical wings, but they're not attached to you when it's a mechanical device. And it was actually really cool because they had like little tinker.
Tib
Um,
Tib.
there's a flock of birds that would well, birds, but like the flock of
Aw.
people, the grouping that were the tinkerers, and they would kind of tinker and fix things, and you needed stuff, and you would go to them, and like they obviously collaborated with other quote unquote like flocks, but they kind of kept to their own kind. Like that was your family, that was like your mafia house. You know what I mean? Those were the people that you associated with the most. That's where your family was. And you kind of, I mean, like, you could be friends and socialize with the other kind of flocks and people because you needed things from them. And oh, good Lord, we're glitched again, aren't we? This game is really glitchy. There's too many Sims in the house. Okay, no, we're good. She's just, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I'm not sure if someone is actually doing. Sometimes I wonder because she just sits there and she doesn't move. Oh, Sloan, you have a bed, girl. Um, but so she's kind of spent time living like that. And you can see she's got a lot of contraptiony things on her. Like she's got like her whole body chain thing. She's got her armband. She's got lots of like the decorative stuff on her top. She's got her bracelets. She's like about the bling. And she even has, I'm pretty sure she has a nose ring. Didn't I give her a nose ring? I think she does. Yeah. She's like lots about the bling. Um, and her feather earrings, feather earrings and the like, because bird. She actually does. You can't see it, I don't think, but she was supposed to have a tattoo. Yeah, you can't see it really through her skin. It's very faint because of the skin overlay, but she has the wing tattoos on her back. They're very faint. Um, they don't show up as much in our world as they did in the bird world. Like she got the tattoo there, but um, like so it's still a connection, but it's still very faded, and most people can't even see it. Like her mother can't see it. The people in this house can see the faded bit of the tattoo because it's no girl. It's I know it's 4 a.m., but go to actual bed, would you? Oh, for God's sakes. Okay. I'm so tired of this napping thing. We're going to go to her room. So that kind of explains why she lives in the tree house, because that's kind of where her flock kind of people live. They live in these like Swiss Family Robinson style tree houses, like they were huge homes in the trees built around the roots and like well not a root but you know what I mean like around the trunks of trees and in the branches and they built these societies in these little cities and stuff in the trees, like and around the trees, kind of like how a bird would make a nest, like in a weird section of branches, and that's kind of how they built their homes and their like areas. And, so like her flock would be living in these cool, awesome tree houses. And that's kind of like when she came here, Dinah had this old tree and part of it had died. But she kind of, so they turned it into a little room for Maggie. So this was kind of built specially for her. Um, I think actually there was probably a bit of a structure here, like an old tree house for like kids to play in. Okay, that was her. It's a shorts outfit. I was like, is she not wearing pants? Oh my God. Got scared for a minute. But yeah, so she was used to kind of living in the tree. So, Dinah kind of made this work, built it out. So it's more of a bedroom. So Maggie kind of lives there instead of living in the main house because she originally did have a room on the main house, but it was kind of stressing her out a little bit because it wasn't, you know, normal for her and it was difficult. So, Dinah kind of wants to cater and kind of make people comfortable. Um, as much as possible, as much as she can with them, not being how they need to be, where they need to be. Um, but yeah, so. So yeah, anyway. Um so one of the things, Maggie being a klepto, she is very much like, I mean, this is actually not necessarily true, but for her it is. She was kind of inspired by like the magpies, like the kind of legends around magpies being the type of birds that, you know, like to steal shiny objects. I actually think that they've like had scientific studies that have proven that magpies actually aren't like that. I know that there's other birds, I forget what kind they are. I think they're Australian birds and they're kind of hilarious, but they're assholes because they do like to steal things from people and they literally will like destroy things Like they will destroy cars. They've stolen people's wallet. Like, and I'm like, this is awesome and hilarious. And like, I don't ever want to be around these birds because they will steal my shit. They probably like get out with their little switchblades and like, I'll cut you. I don't know. But I kind of went with the old theory that like, magpies kind of like steal, and that's kind of why Maggie is Maggie. Maggie, Magpie Flynn. That was kind of her nickname in the group that she kind of ran with when she lived with her mother before she disappeared to Trisswood. But, so it kind of fit her, even though it's technically not true to actually how magpies live, but uh, the birds actually are. But, whatever, it works. And you can see that's why she's got tons of stuff in her room, because she is like a hoarder and she has tons of weird little knicky-knack things that like she squirrels away. Like if you think about it, like think about birds if they're building a nest, right? They're going to grab all sorts of whatever object, any kind of things that they can find that will build the nest. And then if you think about the kind of legend or the stereotype behind, say, magpies or birds that like to steal random things, like that's kind of how she is. She'll steal random things. Like, I mean, hi, she's got a freaking bowling pin up here and some like knife blocks and like some random shit. And like, that's kind of how she's very random. And like, what she steals doesn't make sense. She's not doing it because she wants to gain money or anything like that. She just steals to steal. Like, and Dinah is trying to get her off of that, but the girl can't stop. She doesn't steal from anyone in the house, but she does have a habit of sneaking out sometimes at night and going out, and random things will go missing, like a bowling pin from a bowling alley after, the group had an outing to a bowling alley once, and, nobody could prove anything. And obviously the bowling alley wasn't like calling up Dinah like, you, dude, one of your kids stole a bowling pin. Nobody even noticed. They were like, hey, that's weird. What the frick happened? Like, okay, I don't know, whatever, fix it. Like, but, that's where that bowling pin came from. And she's got a random pumpkin that she stole from someone's porch, even though it would be rotted technically by now. But whatever, it doesn't even matter. Like someone would be like, "Oh, I just left an apple on this bench while I turned around," and she'll steal the damn apple. Like she's just things. She likes to steal things, and I think part of it too is that the collection of things is just it's kind of like a way like to surround herself and barricade herself and protect herself. Um, so she also that's kind of why she wears like a lot of shiny things, because she's like that klepto in her, that shiny, like, oh, shiny things, I for things. And she wears a lot of the things because, even though the bird people, even in this avian world, they had their tree houses and stuff like that, there was still kind of this underlying fear with them that they would have to just pack up and move. So a lot of their super important, they didn't get too attached to items. Like she is a klepto and she'll steal lots of stuff, but if all of a sudden all that stuff disappeared, she's not really attached to any of it. Her main attachments are the things that she wears. Like she wears her body chain, she's got her armband. Like you kind of keep those things on you, anything of value on you or with you at all times, or at least in a kind of a go bag, because they just had this almost fear that like we're going to be uprooted. Like, and Maggie didn't quite understand that. She was really only there for about 4 months. So while she did get ingrained to these people, um, in their society and kind of fit in there, she wasn't really necessarily, I don't want to say one of them, but she didn't kind of understand their history. So there was a point in time where they were kind of at war, and different flocks would fight other flocks and take over, and you live in, say, one area and the other flocks invade and take over and you get pushed back. And so they kind of got away from these emotional connections to things. So it is a little weird because Maggie is a klepto and she does like to steal and she does like to get things, but she doesn't have a connection to these things. It's not like, woo, it's my hordes of stuff. Like, she could take it or leave it. The need to steal is just something ingrained in her, and it's very bizarre. But Dinah's trying to wean her of that, but it's not always, it doesn't always work, to be honest with you. I thought, ooh, Nadia's feeling distant. I could see the the thorny bush when I was like here, and I'm like, how is it growing through the thing? It's not. She's over here chatting with everybody. That's cool. As long as she's having a good time. Um, but yeah, so it was weird. eh,
They're annoying.
It was weird for her to like
Reva.
kind of
Farsica.
grasp like their kind of history
They're boring.
and that need, because it had been a long
They still
time
flame.
since this had happened, and she kind of
Kinda
didn't
young.
understand their
Sure knew.
fear that it would happen again
Resca
because they've obviously been
Sherrard.
living in these
Ingolauchinosa.
tree houses. Their
Kinnikus Farsica.
societies were pretty big, and it's not like, oh, we're living in tiny little,
Brogy.
we're living in tiny
Not
shacks in
allowed
the trees.
shoot
I mean, these were like
Retno.
gorgeous frickin' tree houses, like high ass quality tree houses. Like she's like, wow, people back home would like pay a ton of money for tree houses like this. Like those are feats of engineering, you know? Did you actually see that show? Is it like Extreme Treehouse or something like that, where like the guy legit builds like fucking tree houses for like adults, and it's like these are just like masterful tree houses. She sings quite well, as a bird person should. Sorry, I'm just cleaning up while she's taking a shower. Because like these slobs, nobody can clean up after themselves. Is there any food? I'm assuming there's no food if everybody is literally like, let's see, open. There is almost no food in this house. So, wow. Let's, oh, that's obviously empty too. Is this empty? Oh, damn it, it is. Wow, I thought there was actually food in the house. Crap. Okay, you're gonna have to just make yourself something because I don't feel like having Dinah cook, which we're gonna have to do. Poor Dinah. But yeah, so where was I? What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Living up, yeah, that awesome, like that treehouse show, like Extreme Tree Houses or something. Okay, who's talking to somebody while they're doing homework? Why are we glitching? Don't talk to her while you're doing homework. Stop talking to people while they're doing homework, girl. Jeez, you're glitching the whole game. Why do you insist on talking while people are doing homework? She was talking while she was doing homework. I know she's exhausted, so go to bed then. Oh my god, my game. There we go. Anyway, yes, feats of engineering. And so she couldn't kind of, it was really hard for her to grasp, like, why they were kind of afraid of these things. But, you know, she tried to understand, and she kind of felt more at home with these people than she was at her actual house with her freaking mother. These people were more family to her. But, you know, she couldn't stop her kleptoing, and it kind of got to the point where she actually stole from the wrong person. So, you know, she did steal while she was there, but they kind of tried to look the other way because, you know, the flock that she was living in, they had their own, they were the kind of people, they would take things, you know what I mean? But it wasn't to the extreme. They would take little things here and there, like little shiny things. I'm gonna take this. Oh, this is out. I'm gonna take this. You know, I'm gonna take this apple. I'm gonna take that. But she actually ended up stealing from the wrong person. She thought she was innocent. Like she, the little kleptoing and the little things that she was allowed to take, or that, you know, kind of passed as acceptable, kind of got to the point where it wasn't enough. Like she still had this weird thrill seeker thing inside of her. Oh my god. Well, girl, go pee and then go eat. I thought you were making ice cream. Oh lord, I can't handle it. But so yeah, so she stole from someone who is very, very influential in the society and kind of had ties to the, I don't want to say like bird king kind of a thing, because they really didn't have that. But there is a hierarchy, you know, in the bird world, well, in the world she came from, of the flocks and how they fit. Like there are some flocks that are just more powerful than others, you know? So there is a system, there is this hierarchy. It's kind of like human society in that there's like the, oh, you got the rich and the poor, but there's a little more than that. Like, you know, you had the tinkerers and those kind of well, the people that did that kind of a thing. You had, you know, so I kind of just lost my train of thought there while I was like waiting for her to actually eat the damn ice cream that she made, because like, holy crap. Um,
Hmm.
you know, they had their own kind of things, anger management. Do a workout. Sure, I don't know. Um, but when she stole from this wrong person, it kind of caused a lot of issues, and that actually, like, the higher up people in society knew about being able to cross borders to worlds. Um, Wait for them to respond. Although sometimes they miss the first one. I did that at work yesterday. Um, Someone was like, "Hey, do you have a minute? I need to talk to you." And I'm like, "Yeah, just give me a sec." And then I was like, "Okay, you know, you can give me a call." And then like 15 minutes later, I'm like, "We gonna do this or what? Like, we having this call or what?" Pick something you like. Good lord. Good Maggie, can you eat that ice cream now? Oh gosh, she has tons of ice cream in her inventory. I'm gonna put this out so everybody else can have some. Everyone's gonna eat ice cream. There we go, everyone. There are lots of stanky people in this house. Lots of stanky ass people in this house. Holy hell. How does she have 3 things of ice cream? Is this empty? I think that one's empty. Oh god, is someone doing homework? Oh, she broke the coffee pot. Replace. Who's doing homework and talking? Nobody. Okay, we were just glitchy. Oh my god, Maggie, eat. Okay, I know Lane is stanky, so we're gonna clean him up a little bit. We're just gonna cheat him up because I can't handle the fact that he's stinky. Neither can anyone else. They're trying to enjoy their pea green ice cream. Pistachio, sure it is. But yeah, so they knew about traveling through to different like realms and everything. They usually tried to keep it tight, you know. But they had the ability to do that. And Maggie had slipped through accidentally at one point when they were kind of doing experiments. But they were fine to letting her stay because, you know, she kind of made home for herself and everything, and they were okay with it. But when she stole from the wrong person, it was like her punishment to be sent back home. They basically had a no tolerance policy, and even though she tried to make amends, return the items and everything, like they kicked her out, and she was kind of miserable, obviously, because she spent 4 months in a place where she kind of felt at home. And now she's back here and living what she was originally going to go live back with her mother, but thankfully, you know, her mother was so fed up with her issues, and Dinah had kind of known. Dinah is really good at feeling out when there's stories in the news or things that kind of. She's got some help with this, but where it seems like maybe a child has gone to another world, and you know, so she kind of actively seeks out kids like Maggie. And when she kind of heard, you know, when Maggie came back and her mother was having issues, she kind of course, you know, contacted her mom, Maggie's mom. um like they kind of like met up, they got in touch, and kind of discussed bringing Maggie here, and it's obviously working out quite well because Maggie doesn't want to live with her mother. That made her miserable. And her father is still in deployment. He's not due back. And, you know, Maggie still misses that world that she was part of, but she kind of also remembers her childhood. And Dinah's trying to help her with that. Like, remember more when you were a younger kid and you lived with your father. Do you remember what that was like? And seeing helping her see the parallels between the kind of things she learned from her father and saw like with that military, quote unquote the family, you know, of everybody that lived on base, and how that kind of compared to Trisswood, and kind of pulling those out to her and like showing her, see, you can still have some of the things, like some of the things you really enjoyed about that world you can have here, because unfortunately, Maggie will probably never get back to Trisswood, which is kind of sad. I know a lot of the kids here are trying to get back, and they have possibilities of getting back to their worlds, but Maggie is one that will probably never go back because of what happened, because she stole from the wrong person, and now she's most likely permanently banished. So, you know, Dinah doesn't want her to give up hope. Like, you should always, if that's something that you want, keep it in your heart because maybe things will change. Maybe the regimes will change and things will be forgiven and you'll be able to go back. But if you can't, you need to make amends and live here. You need to live in the here and now, and you need to kind of remember the things about Trisswood that really felt like home for you and find those here, like especially the sense of family and community. um and Dinah knows that Maggie had that with her father, and she's trying to make her remember that and realize that, what, when your father comes back, he'll maybe you can go live with him if you want to instead of being here. You can have that again, even if it's not like, not saying that, you need to join the military, but you can find a sense of community and family with other people. Like, just look at the friends that you're making here, and these people are all so vastly different, but you share something. So I do feel kind of bad for Maggie because she'll never get to go back. And so I think that's kind of where her like kleptoing has kind of come back a little bit stronger, and she steals random things. Because she does, it's starting to be a little bit better. She's not as much of a klepto as when she first got here. Obviously, she hasn't stolen anything for weeks now. She still gets the urge sometimes, and look at that. I feel like is her like, I just really want to steal stuff. Bad aftertaste. Oh, that's because you suck at making ice cream, but that's okay. Um, but Dinah's trying to help her around that, and I think Maggie is now actively trying. I think she's starting to accept that she'll never go back to Trisswood, and she's kind of just trying to remember the good times and the good things about it and finding those good things here. So, poor Maggie. She's not a bad kid. She's just a klepto. I'm feeling forlorn. No one likes me. No one will ever like me. Why bother with anything? People like you. Look around. See? Yes, sure. We'll tell Jack to text someone else. She's like, thank you. See, we look around. Everybody here loves you. And actually, I think her relationship is actually quite good with most people. Yeah, I mean, she's got a decent relationship with everyone. They're not like super friends, but they just got here, so they're all acquaintances. I don't know if anybody has like a super good relationship. She has got a decent relationship with the toilet, which I find really weird. I don't think anyone has a bad relationship, do they? I think everybody likes each other. Jack and Edmund are kind of not the best of friends. That's like the lowest relationship Jack has. How's Elkie with everybody? I mean, honestly, we haven't played that much if you think about it, so... Oh, Edmund and Sloane don't get along. That's pretty funny. Not surprising. Sloane can be a tough character. Interesting. Ezra should be everybody's goddamn friend. He just seems kind of like... Poor Ezra just hides in the background. I'm actually probably... I think next week what we'll do Jack's story. Because I know Jack has come up a couple of times in conversation, and I know last week when you guys voted, we had votes for Maggie, we had Jack, and we had Beatrice. We might have had a vote for Sloane. Poor Ezra, nobody's voting for him, but I think I will probably put him in possibly after Jack, just because... Oh, who's getting abducted? Who's getting abducted? Who is it? Pause. Who was it? Who got abducted? Oh, Dinah! Oh, no! Oh, Dinah. Oh, dear Dinah, you're getting abducted. That's not good. You're leaving the teenagers home alone. Okay. She's like, oh, shit! She's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I have been to other worlds, but I did not sign up for this shit. I don't want Ezra to be last. And it's not because I don't want to give the impression that, like, well, the story's boring. But I feel like there are some other stories that are better. His was actually, I think, the last one that I wrote, to be honest with you. So I needed another character, so I kind of just, like... I don't think it was my best effort. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to read this. actually, no, his story's not too bad. His backstory is actually pretty good. I have the most detail. I just forget his a lot because it was the last one I wrote and it wasn't as, like, some of them just grip you. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like Edmund's story, like his steampunk world, I'm like, oh my God, I want to live there and I want to write this book. Like, it's just amazing. Um, and Nadia's too, you know. So some of them I actually really like more than others. I like I like Beatrice's too. Hers is cute. But yeah, so I was actually thinking we could probably maybe, well, you know what? I'm going to leave it up to you guys. I'm not going to say who we ended on. Um, we will go with the votes, and if uh Ezra gets the least amount of votes, then his will be the last story. He does have a decent backstory though, so I was kind of just skimming through it, and I was like, you know what? It's just I forget it because some of them I remember so much better than other ones. I don't want to, like, and some of them obviously resonate more with me than other ones because it just, like, they came a lot easier. You know, it is actually a lot harder than you think to, like, come up with really good backstories and really interesting worlds for this many characters. I mean, that's 9 characters. And I did have other ones that were written, obviously not backstories, but I kind of had vague ideas of, like, their worlds. But I didn't want, they were like, oh, okay, that's too similar to this person, or that's not, you know, so I just kind of didn't want to do something totally the same. I will tell you that one of the characters that we have yet to do, so obviously that is one of the, what, we have like 4 left, I think. Let's see. We have Jack, Beatrice, Sloane, and Ezra, and one of them, actually, their story is inspired by one of the stories in the book. So I will obviously let you know when we get to that character. I will, because I don't want to spoil it beforehand, and I don't want anybody who's read the book to be like, which one of these characters looks like they came out of the book. But it was a story that I actually did kind of like, and I kind of wanted to put it in there. So I will tell you that and give you more detail around, like, why I kind of liked it and whatnot before when we do that character's part. So I just think she's so dancing. She's like, I'm gonna go dance. Poor Dinah. Oh my God. Oh, she's adorable. She really is. If you want to see more of Dinah's early life, of course, I just want to kind of point this out that you can watch Alice's Adventures in Windenburg. I usually link it. If you're watching this on the computer, you should be able to see the cards at the end during my end card. There are little videos that are usually linked. I don't think you can see it if you watch it on a TV. I'm not sure if you can see them if you watch on your phone, if the phone app. But on the computer, they should show up where you can click them and go to those videos. Alice's Adventures in Windenburg. It's more about Alice, Dinah's mother, and then a little bit of Dinah's early life. If you guys want, we can always throw in a little bit of Dinah at the end. I told you a little bit about her in the beginning, and I've gone through, we've done a little bit kind of as we go. There is a possibility that this could always have a second season at some point. Probably not right away. It would be something I take a break from just so I can write other characters and whatnot. And we can even go through, you know, Dinah's story kind of a little bit more then. I mean, we did have a little bit more info on her. And I can kind of just start putting in, if you want, like a little bit more about her. I feel like we've gotten a good sense of who she is, just, and how she responds to the children, and how responds to these kids, and how she finds them, and kind of like her feelings toward them, and why she helps them, and little bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, we don't have the middle of her story. I mean, it's also a possibility that I could totally do like a middle story for her. Like, we have Alice's Adventures in Windenburg, which was all about Alice, you know, Dinah's mother, and then you get a little bit of Dinah's early life up until about right when she ages up to a young adult, and then now she's an elder, so we don't have her young adult and adult life. So we could always do like a midpoint story, like a prequel to this, but which is a sequel to the original. I mean, that could be kind of interesting to do too, like show what her life was like and how she got to this point. I think I did explain it in the first episode, though. I don't really remember how much information I gave you guys. I don't want to rehash the same information if we already went through her story, just what I have. But we can always kind of do her a little bit at the end. Or if we find, okay, somebody's story went a little bit fast, we can throw in a little bit more Dinah. So, I don't know. I haven't quite decided if I want to include her in that, just because the timing and how these work out. We've got, what did I say, 4 more characters left to do. And 1, 3, 4. That will bring us to... Oh, I actually did include an 11th episode. Okay, so I did include 11. So we have 1, so we could talk about Dinah if you want. So that's what we'll do then. We can do that for the last episode. So the last episode will be kind of wrapping up, just kind of poking around with everybody. We can give you a little bit more information on Dinah. Maybe it might rehash some of the stuff I told you in the first part, because I don't remember what I told you, because I try to keep it secret from myself. Like, don't say certain things. We don't want to give out spoilers. And then I forget, like, did I tell you, or was that one of the things I was specifically not telling you? I don't know. So we do actually have, I do have in the calendar for November 3rd would be our last episode of this series, and then we will probably, I believe, be pushing, if we get a Pets game pack or expansion pack sometime in October. I'm hoping, well, October or November. I'm hoping that will take the place of this. Otherwise, it will be the Time Lord series. We'll just take this place. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm not. I kind of almost hope that Pets doesn't come out in October, just because I know what I want to do. Like, we obviously know I'm doing a Scooby-Doo Let's Play. I want to get my stuff ready for that and get it out as fast as possible, because I really feel like there's going to be people who are all of a sudden going to do Scooby-Doo characters and might actually do Let's Plays, and I don't want mine to come out like a month later and it look like I copied anybody, because I've had this idea since I started this channel. So I say it all the time, because I'm like, I don't want to be like, I know there are people that have ideas and then you're like, oh shit, somebody else already had the idea. But there's a lot of people that do copy. I know people copy ideas. I know people copy houses and things in the galleries. And it's one thing that it's one thing to be inspired by people and do things like that. And I'm totally fine with that, because most people are pretty honest about that. Like, this is obviously not in a totally original series. I was inspired by the book, but I tell you that almost every episode, like, this was inspired by this book. Like, go check out the book. Like, this is where it came from. I told you that one of the characters came from it. And I try, if I remember, like, Maggie's thing with the rainbows, like, that came from the book. I know there was a part, I don't really remember it very well, where they were talking about being able to run across rainbows and whatnot. And I just remember that, and like, that's really cool. So I kind of wove that into her story. So that wasn't 100% original. I kind of pulled that from the book. And there's obviously going to be little influences here and there that I don't even remember came from the book that probably did. Just little things, but for the most part, most of the stories I try to kind of craft my own instead of making like exactly the characters from the book. But yeah, there's similarities for sure. But yeah, I don't want Scooby-Doo to come out and everyone be like, oh, you copied this person. No, I didn't, goddamn. That I will flip my desk. I'll be like, oh my god, no, I didn't. I've had this idea from like the start of my channel. Plus mine's gonna be a little bit different anyway. I'm gonna fuck with it a little bit. But I would hate to do that and then somebody else does something similar and I'm like, screw you guys! Like, there's nothing worse than thinking you have a really cool original idea and like 12 other people had it before at the same time or before you, and you're like, damn it. You know, like that person who just invented a Slinky and is like, this is the coolest thing, and everyone's like, dude, Slinkies have existed for like forever. Anyway, enough rambling, because now this is way long of a part, so I am going to wrap this one up here. I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.